Hola, cage fighting connoisseurs. This is Kid Nate and Eddie Mercado of BloodyElbow.com, goofing around a little bit after a very fun UFC Fight Night South Dakota. I got to admit, I was tired and cranky when this whole thing came up following the big week last week and admittedly the disappointing UFC 200. And as Luke Thomas said, what a capper to a weird week of MMA that UFC South Dakota kicks the shit out of UFC 200. This was a really sweet fight card. Plenty of great fights. First up, headliner John Lineker beats Michael McDonald. Body and head punches. 2 minutes 43 first round. Thoughts, Eddie Mercado?
Oh man, that might have been more exciting than any fight on UFC 200 for sure. Maybe not necessarily the whole week.
No, there were some great fights the whole week, but 200 just put a stinker on top of everything.
Yeah, a lot of finishes. There were 9 finishes tonight. 9 out of 12. I mean, that's awesome.
That's very awesome. Sweet. Yes.
A lot on the ground too, like a lot of ground and pound TKO finishes.
Yep, and a sweet Darce choke and a nail biter of a co-main event where Tony Ferguson barely got past a UFC debutant, Lando Vanatta, a name that I couldn't. Every time they said that, I was like, "What they just call this dude? Lando what's Vanatta?" But he nearly knocked out Tony Ferguson, and definitely, like, Ferguson wouldn't even touch his gloves before the fight, and then Kid definitely earned his respect. You never see Tony Ferguson respect somebody, and he was holding the guy's hand up after the fight. He knows he barely squeaked past that one.
Yeah, it was exciting. It was definitely the most exciting fight on the card as far as back and forth goes.
And stakes. It was. I mean, even though Vanatta's a noob, Ferguson's on the verge of a title shot. Like, that could have derailed the whole dang thing. And Ferguson pulled it out and showed that this guy might be ready for a championship. I mean, he's been consistently improving for a long time, and this is the kind of hurdle that tells me this dude's serious. He's not kidding around.
Yeah, it's his 3rd Darce inside of the UFC, and there hasn't even been that many Darces, and he owns 3 of them.
Yeah.
And the way he gets to him is so smooth. Like, it's a fallback. It's like, oh, the guillotine's not working. Let's just transition to a Darce really quick and drag you down to the ground and choke you out.
Yeah, there it is, and it's such a great weapon for a top control wrestle boxer guy like Ferguson. I mean, it really adds a 3rd dimension to his game. But let's get back to the main event, because even though Ferguson really is the marquee star, he was supposed to headline against Michael Chiesa. Chiesa got hurt a couple weeks ago. Vanatta stepped up, and we will talk about that fight some more. But let's go back to the main event, Lineker versus McDonald. Eugene and I were both way off on the Care Don't Care preview, which is an occupational hazard of doing a show where you do predictions with no preparation. I mean, that's the whole premise of the show, and we stick to it because we're lazy. And also that's the whole point of the show, is to gauge what people who pay fairly close attention to the fights are thinking about stuff. But Lineker just beat the piss out of Michael McDonald. The thing we were missing is McDonald has been out for most of the past 2 years and only had 1 fight back. He wasn't quite ready for Lineker tonight.
He wasn't, and he was trying to trade with him,
and backing up against the cage.
Man, nobody really has the power to be trading with him like that,
or the chin. I mean,
yeah, and that's the thing is Lineker got hit when he landed that left hook that was like the ultimate dropper. I mean, he got clipped on that too, and he just kind of stood there and was like, "Oh, well, I ate it and you didn't, so let me just start wailing on you."
Exactly.
Title shot. Can he please hop in line?
Yeah. I honestly, I despair that anybody can beat Cruz right now. I see Cruz just dancing him up all night long, but Lineker will be swinging, and if he connects just a couple of times, it could get very interesting very fast. It's a classic puncher's chance.
Yeah, he's like a little Mike Tyson, man.
Yeah,
fun to watch. Or maybe he shouldn't get a title shot. Let's keep feeding him top 15 guys, just so we can just get these matchups. And I like McDonald.
Let him have his title shot while he's at his peak. There's plenty of time for Lineker to be clowning fools. I mean, I think this guy has a future in the UFC of knocking people the fuck out for the foreseeable future. I mean, I think things are looking good for him. But let's get back to Ferguson Vanatta. Chiesa wasn't even the biggest disappointment. The big disappointment was we were supposed to get Ferguson versus Khabib Nurmagomedov. And before this fight started, I was thinking to myself about things I might want to say on the show, which I rarely do, but I was actually thinking ahead, and I was thinking Ferguson is one of the scariest guys in the UFC. They're about to throw this newbie kid in here against a guy who was gonna fight Khabib Nurmagomedov, and I was actually afraid for Khabib. I mean, not that I didn't think Khabib had an excellent chance to win. It's just if you lose to Tony Ferguson, you're probably getting fucked up. I mean, and for Vanatta to come out unbowed, unintimidated, and nearly win the fight, I mean, that kid has some balls on him. I got to say, that is a badass performance.
Not only that, but just it's smart. Like, he did exactly what he should have done. He has nothing to lose. His debut against someone who should be in a title fight, why not come out and lay it all on the line in the first round? And if you get finished in the second, so what? You're supposed to lose anyways. At least draw in all those fans by putting on a show in that first round. And
exactly.
He did just that.
Exactly. And that kick he caught Ferguson with, I didn't see that coming, and Ferguson sure as shit didn't. I mean, that was I wouldn't say he's a technical whiz or anything, but he's got some power and he's got some tricks up his sleeve.
And his movement, oh man, his movement was magical. Like, he just looked like a little sorcerer out there, just spinning and moving and cutting angles, and it was very unique, very artistic.
Yeah, it really was. And I haven't given the results for that one. Ferguson beat Vanatta second round, 2 minutes, 22 seconds. Lots of twos there with the Darce choke submission. Very nice fight for Tony Ferguson. And presumably, I bet we get a title eliminator with him and Khabib. Does Khabib have a fight booked?
I don't think so. Not yet.
Yeah, so they need. I bet they book that title eliminator before they give either of those guys Eddie Alvarez. But honestly, I mean, I'm still kind of reeling. I haven't even. There's been so much in the last week. I haven't even processed Alvarez beating RDA the way I usually do after a big fight like that. I haven't watched it again, which I got on my to-do list. But Alvarez, I mean, I thought RDA was going to be the champ for a while, the way he's just been clowning fools. I mean, the way he crushed Pettis and Cerrone and everything. And then for Alvarez to just light him up like that, I can't decide if this is one of these all bets are off. GSP has been beaten. This division is just going to go in a blender for a while, or if Alvarez has a shot of sitting on the title for a while. And what do you think of Ferguson versus Alvarez?
Well, first of all, with Alvarez, I mean, I actually picked him to win that fight. I felt like he had the kind of pressure boxing style that you need to beat RDA, because RDA is so aggressive. He comes forward and he backs people up. And, you know, he did that a little bit to Alvarez in the beginning, but then Alvarez is like, okay, I got my timing down. I'm going to bite down on my mouthpiece and I'm going to put hands on him. And it worked, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, because I thought RDA was looking really good up until the moment he got knocked out.
Yeah, he looked like RDA, but it's just the style. It was a bad style matchup for him. Now, is Eddie Alvarez going to defend the title? I can't guarantee that. Especially against Ferguson. Ferguson is just he's kind of has everything. He's got the wrestling, you know. He was an All-American. He's got the crafty, spinny, flashy, you know, unorthodox moves that work, and he's also got really nice straight punches. You know, we saw a nice jab from him tonight. So it's like he has all these different, you know, tools in his tool shed and
he's been improving them. I mean,
he's an athlete. He's an athlete as well. So, I mean, he's championship material, I think. You know, why not?
I think so too. Although against Khabib and against Alvarez, I'll have to think through those matchups. I like him against Alvarez on initial blush as stylistically, but
what's going to get him in trouble in that is his willingness to, you know, throw those flashy moves and not be defensively sound. I mean, he's getting dropped by Vanatta. You know, what's he going to do with Alvarez coming at him?
It's true. It's true. And Alvarez won't let him up. If Alvarez hurts him like that, that's it, probably. But anyway, let's run through the rest of the card. Sad moment for Bloody Elbow community, as a former Bloody Elbow writer. Josh Saman got TKO by Tim the Barbarian Boetsch. Second round, 3 minutes, 49 seconds. And this was very painful for me because I love Josh and I love rooting for him. I'm not even pretending to be unbiased here. And he fought fucking stupid fight. Like, I was just screaming, what are you doing clinching with the Barbarian? It's like he had the range on him, and you clinch with the Barbarian. He's not quite what he used to be, but Boetsch is mean in the clinch, as Josh now knows.
Yeah, he's definitely mean in the clinch. But, I mean, I don't disagree with it in terms of surprising Boetsch. I thought that was smart of him.
But you surprise a guy, and then you realize, oops, that was a mistake. You don't repeat it in the next round, you know? Yeah. I mean, I saw enough of that clinch in the first round to know, Josh, no. And, you know, I don't know. It was a disappointing performance, but shout out to Josh. I mean, I know you'll be back, and it was gritty. You got to hand it to him. It was a gritty performance. I mean, he was game, but and he might have an orbital bone fracture. The way that eye was swelling, I hate to speculate on injuries, but that looked nasty.
Yeah, how about Boetsch though? I mean, he's talking about making a title run. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I mean, that's
how old is Boetsch? He's 35.
Yeah, he's 35, and I mean,
I feel like he's been 35 my entire life.
He seems like the kind of guy who was born 35, but you know, it doesn't take long. Look at the guy's lost 3 out of his last 4 fights. I mean, he's put together a 1-fight winning streak here, and he's talking title shot. Like, I know the middleweight division is chaotic, but Tim, baby, please settle down. I mean, wow. You know, the fracking gas must still be hanging pretty thick over Sioux Falls out there. You know, I mean, I don't know, son. It's like, whew, you know, I mean, he's lost 6 out of his last 9 fights. Like, dude's not getting anywhere title shot, but I guess got to have something to get up in the morning. I mean, God bless you. Go Tim Boetsch. All right, so now we've got the worst fight on the card by far. Heavyweight, Daniel Emil is like, decision, Oleksiy Olenek, majority draw, 28 or majority decision. One guy had a 28-28 tie. The other 2 had it split 29-28, 28-29. Yeah, I mean, the only thing I can say positive about this fight, at least the UFC didn't do what World Series of Fighting has been doing and run something like Russia's about to invade Poland again. You know, like there was no promotion around this fight. But I mean, that's the only good thing I can think of, is there was no real sectarian ugliness between this historical rivals, Russia and Poland. I mean, what anything to say about that fight? Because you don't have to.
Yeah, I mean, well, for one, there's no promotion for this card at all.
No.
Absolutely none.
No. I'm sure they blanketed Sioux Falls, because that crowd was pretty rowdy.
Local guys on here. Yeah. But I learned in this fight just how vast the gap is between the top of the heavyweight division and the are these up and comers? I mean, they've been fighting over 9 years.
These guys are ancient and they suck, and I'm sorry, guys. I don't think that. Yeah, so anyway, it was a terrible fight, and we'll move on. Then we had welterweight Keita Nakamura, Keitaro submit Kyle Noak. Second round, 4 minutes, 59 seconds, 1 second left, and he got the tap out. And Noak's corner was screaming at him that he only had seconds left. Just hang on. Great. I think Keitaro's best UFC performance easily.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely hard to hear when the blood's, not getting to your brain.
Yeah.
So I can't.
That's an excellent point.
I can't fault him for not hearing his, the time or anything. But
yeah, he was seeing the light probably. And
I mean, and you saw when Nakamura released the hold. I mean, he face planted.
Yeah,
so that might have been like the last second he had
to do anything before he's meeting his great granddad on the other side. Yeah, that was. Come to us, Kyle. Come to us. Follow the light, Kyle. Yeah, that's when you need to tap. And so Noak was looking pretty good up until Keitaro caught him. I mean, surprising. It was a. Now I've already forgot. We had a term for the punch and then submit. It was club and sub. The club and sub. That's it. I didn't have the rhyme. Club and sub. Yes, indeed. Thank you for remembering. That was a classic example of a club and sub win.
Yeah, he dropped him with that knee. Oh, man, that was beautiful. I didn't even see that coming. I did not expect that.
No, and neither did Kyle Noak, clearly.
Pretty good fight, though. Pretty exciting.
It was a good back and forth. And I got to say, behind the scenes on the staff, Zane Simon couldn't be with us tonight because I think he's having his anniversary or something with his wife. And we tried to tell him, look, just tell her Keitaro's fighting Kyle Noak tonight, and she'll understand. anniversary needs to be put off, but I guess, and now look how it turns out. Look who's sorry now, Zane Simon. That's what I'm saying. He missed the legendary bout. All right, so then you had the opener for the main card, which all took place on Fox Sports 1. Louis Smolka defeated Ben Gwynn. TKO, punches and elbows, second round, 4 minutes, 41 seconds. Pretty good back-and-forth fight. Gwynn had a good run in the first round, but he got messed up in the second.
Yeah, I feel like he had the right game plan. Like, he came out hot, went right after it, which he should have done, but he kind of got too caught up in, hey, let's grapple. Let's see who's the better grappler.
And we did.
Yeah, exactly. It was a bad idea. He probably should have just stood back up and kept it standing.
Exactly, because Smolka is a big believer in the old Carlson Gracie maxim of punch a black belt in the face and he becomes a blue belt. I mean, it's like the beating that Smolka was putting down on him on the ground was vicious and ugly and beautiful for those of us who like that sort of thing, which is why we're watching fist fights.
For me, it was tough to watch. I thought he took a lot of unnecessary punishment.
Yeah, the ref should have stepped in, definitely.
Tough. The problem with being tough is you get beat up.
Yeah, beat much worse than say I would, which when I would be quick tapping as soon as contact was made. But anyway, then we had the 4-fight prelims, which was probably the weakest part of the card. You had Caitlin. Can you say her name? Chigukian? What the fuck?
Oh, I can. It's Chikagian.
Chikagian, much better than my terrible, embarrassing.
And you know what?
Caitlin Chikagian.
I wrote it out like in
smart.
Like they do in the dictionaries, I did
notes. Wow, this kid might. I've heard of people making notes before they do a show, but never actually seen it done. So impressive stuff there, Eddie McCarty. So she beat Lauren Murphy, unanimous decision. Murphy got one round on all three cards, 29-28 all the way. Caitlin looked tough. She looked crisp, clean, good striking. Murphy had her moments, but not enough of them.
Yeah, I think Murphy was just a little too willing to stand with her and try to trade with her. Or maybe it was just she couldn't, or her game plan was to use that to set up the takedown, but that just never just developed for her. And so she found herself chasing and just eating straight punches. And she had a good second round, though. That was, if it wasn't for the first part of that round being, here we go. Chikagian. There we go.
That's why I was sticking with Caitlin. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, if Chikagian didn't, get off a couple shots early in that second round, that could have been a 10-8 round. That could have been a draw. Yeah. So, it was close. But what a debut! I mean, that should put her in the top 10 or the top 15 now.
In that division, yeah, definitely. And then you had middleweight Smiling Sam Alvey beat Eric Spicely, guillotine choke submission, 2 minutes 43 seconds of the first round. Smiling Sam is back on the winning track. A good thing for him that he booked this fight as soon as he did after that last very unimpressive performance.
Yeah, it was, and what an excellent performance. I mean, he was winning everywhere. He showed excellent takedown defense. I mean, he was hurting him with every strike. I mean, he looked good. He looked like he's ready.
He looked like Smiling Sam Alvey. I mean, as opposed to standing Sam Alvey, which is what he looked like last time. So yeah, it was good to see Sam turn it around. And Spicely, took a beating. All right, then you had women's strawweight. Courtney Casey beat Christina Stanciao, TKO, first round, 2 minutes 36 seconds. Casey looked pretty damn dominant.
Shellacking. A good old-fashioned, passionate ass whooping.
It sure was. And, Casey's – the strawweight division, women's strawweight might be one of my favorites right now. I mean, there's a lot of talent happening there. And I think it really puts bantamweight in the shade. But then you have lightweight Scott Holtzman beat Cody the Pfister with unanimous decision, 30-27 on two cards, 29-28 on the other. Thoughts on this one? I had none. I have nothing to say about this one.
Man, poor Pfister. I think that might be it for him.
Yeah, it could well be.
This might be done. He didn't change his name in time. No. He didn't have any fun with it.
No, it was too little too late. Then on the prelim card, we had bantamweight Ronnie Yaya. This is a Fight Bass card. Beat Matthew Lopez, arm triangle choke submission in the third round, 4 minutes, 19 seconds. Lopez was favored in this fight, which I thought was crazy pants, but he put on a really good performance. I mean, he almost armbarred Yaya, who's one of the best grapplers MMA, but time will tell. When you're in there with a veteran that's that dangerous, you know, and you're a new kid, it doesn't matter how good you are. Sometimes you get in over your head, and Lopez ultimately did.
That was an exciting fight. I mean, Yaya came out
really
striking right off the bat. I didn't expect that. I didn't expect him to come out and throw hands. I thought he was going to just spam takedowns. But and also Lopez almost had him in that reverse triangle.
Oh yes, that was a sweet inverse triangle. That was, but Yaya, you know, gave the thumbs up because he's been in that position. You know, like most human beings have never been in that position. Most experienced grapplers have only been in that position a couple times. I had the feeling Yaya had been in that position like a fuck ton of times.
For like a year and a half total time.
Yeah. Like he was not concerned at all.
He looked so comfortable.
Yeah. And Yaya, he's a guy who's been putting together some wins in that division without getting any love. And so
he had that one sweet transition where he took the back by pushing off the cage. Did you see that?
I did see that. That was very slick. That was the one for Yaya's highlight reels. And Lopez, I'm very impressed with and look forward to seeing him again. Although, if they want to build the kid up, why they're throwing him in with a guy this dangerous first fight? I mean,
maybe just to see where he stands.
Well, they know.
Just like, what's his name? Vanatta's getting Tony Ferguson on his first fight.
Yeah, well, that was a desperation move. I mean, they needed the, you know. But Lopez is one of the blessed from Dana's and Matt Serra's show, whatever it's called. And so I look forward to seeing him again, though. The kid's for real. Then you had middleweight Alex Nicholson knock out local boy Devin Clark. 4 minutes, 57 seconds in the first round. This was another exciting back-and-forth fight, and honestly might have had a lot of screams from the crowd all night because Clark had his family and friends there.
Yeah, it was very exciting. Clark dropped Nicholson right off the bat with a jab, but Nicholson, you know, came back and was game and got one of the weirdest KOs I've ever seen inside the UFC. He was like, it was so weird. He caught him in like with a right and messed up his equilibrium, and then
it seemed like Clark fell into his fist. And I almost think that a knee made contact with Clark's head. Clark was
it kind of looked like that before he kind of went for the double aim.
Yeah.
And then he caught him with some weird like over fist uppercut move.
I think the knee might have played a role in a totally inadvertent thing. I don't think he wasn't even moving his knee forward, but Clark bashed his own head into Nicholson's knee. Maybe, yeah, it was a weird knockout, and I'm glad you remembered that because I'd forgotten it. But yeah, it was when they showed the highlights twice, and I was like, "What the heck just happened?" But good performance from Nicholson, although I don't think that means anything for anybody. But you know, we'll see. But back to the main event, John Lineker, the Mike Tyson of the bantamweight division. The one thing about it was watching the walk-in, and I'm as little as these guys. It's still hard for me to get like super pumped, you know, when like the king of the Munchkins is approaching the cage. You know, it's like, I mean, and I know Lineker could kill me, and I've you know met fighters, Clay Guida, other guys about my size, and you can just tell when you're in the presence of a fighter. I mean, these guys are little, but they're monstrously stacked little dudes. But still, there's something, you know, it's hard to get that scared of Lineker because that's his value proposition is he's scary and mean. I mean, if he was a heavyweight, you know, he'd be one of your classic, you know, Sonny Liston type scary guys. And as is, he's a badass bantamweight, but I'm not getting a fright vibe off him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think MMA is going to see anyone really paying attention to the lighter divisions for a long time. Just like in boxing, like you didn't see anyone caring about the lighter divisions in boxing until like Floyd came around. You know, and then it's like, okay, now you got this lighter fighter that everyone's paying.
Kind of like Conor McGregor at featherweight.
Yeah, exactly. He's probably, you know, and even Ronda Rousey, you know, considering she's not only a female, but also
considering she's the same size as these guys, which kind of says everything. But she's actually bigger than Lineker, I think, considerably, but taller anyway. But yeah, Lineker, great performance. And McDonald, like, I hope they give him a tune-up fight after this, because kid's been out for a long time. He had one win before this comeback, and this, I mean, he's going to be, you know, on the bench for a while after all that head trauma. He'll have to sit out. He'll be suspended for a while, but you know, and he struggled with Masanori Kanehara, before he submitted him. So, you know, I don't think we're dealing with the Michael McDonald of just a couple years ago before he got hurt. So hope he can get it back on the track. But yeah, Lineker, I want him to get a title shot, even though I think he has a very slim chance of beating Cruz. I think he has a better chance than almost anybody else I can think of, because if he can catch him 3 times, he might get the knockout.
But who's catching Cruz 3 times?
Well, that's the thing. But still, I mean, I don't think he has a good chance. I do think he has some chance. Because if he catches him once, that should slow Cruz down enough to catch him a couple more. But
maybe, or sends Cruz into like hyper bicycle mode, and he's just starts retreating for the rest of the round.
Slaps an instant takedown on his ass.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the X factor there.
Yeah,
like, Cruz stands because he can. You know what I mean? He's a wrestler.
Exactly.
That's the scary part.
And the Cruz is one of these weird fighters because I love him as a personality. I love his feud with Uriah Faber. I respect the shit out of his abilities and talent, but I hate to watch him fight, and I root against him every time. That style just kills me. But he's even better after all the injuries. That's the thing that really pisses me off. It's like, damn, this guy. But, you know, he's just sitting like a cloud on the bantamweight division. But, you know, got to respect him. He's a heck of a champion. And Lineker, I think, should get a shot. I'm not going to cry tears if he doesn't. But, you know, like you say, he'll probably get beat and then back to knocking out bantamweights, which is
they might give him like Brian Caraway.
Now, that would be so fun. I love the idea of that. I mean, I think that'd be a very popular fight with the fans.
They love to hate Brian Caraway.
Who doesn't? What? I mean, you know.
Like the Kevin Federline of MMA.
Not quite in that. It's like if Kevin Federline was less well-known and somebody's boyfriend. Like, you know, that would be, you know, I mean, anyway. But then we also had Tony Ferguson beat Lando Vanatta. Vanatta made his UFC debut count. Almost knocked out Ferguson, dropped him, and had him on Queer Street for quite a while in the first round. But Ferguson made him put on the blood mask in the second before finished him with the dark choke. I mean, Vanatta, he got busted up in round 2.
Yeah, he was definitely wearing it. And that was the thing. You know, he left it all in there in the first round, and he had absolutely nothing left in the second round, and I don't even fault him at all or blame him for that. And I'm definitely impressed. I want to see him fight again. He's an action fighter.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I hope his corner like put a sheet on his bloody face, like make kind of Shroud of Turin thing for him to take home to his mom as a souvenir, like, because that was a blood mask if I've ever seen one. So that's the card, and that's our show. We'll be back with coverage of UFC on Fox, Holm versus Shevchenko, not this weekend, thank God, but the following weekend. And we'll have all the previews, the Care Don't Care preview and Knuckle Up and the vivisections and all that. And tomorrow, Eugene and Alexi and I will have If I Did It to talk about the UFC sale. So don't miss any of that. And follow me on Twitter at KidNate. Follow Eddie at the Eddie Mercado. Subscribe to MMANation.com on YouTube. Subscribe to MMA Nation on iTunes. You can get the audio without the ugly. Read us both on BloodyElbow.com and Audios MMA. Hey,
that's all.
And thanks, Eddie. Thanks for filling in for Zane Simon. And we'll see you next time.